Magandang gabi lahat. Good evening all. This is the B-Sides with myself, Motzie and Edward McKee. Hi, Edward.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, we're about to chat. We've done this twice already, but we've left the B-Sides for 4 weeks rather than 3 weeks, or like 4 episodes rather than 3 episodes. It's just been that way, I think. That's just how it's played out the past couple.
Just a little bit. It seems to work out that way, though.
That's true, and people, I feel like it's mainly because, one, it's my schedule. I do whatever I want.
Exactly.
But also, two, for this particular one, it's because 2 of the episodes are kind of the same name, part 1, part 2 episodes, and I just wanted to, divide it properly instead of, like, having B-Sides have, like, Clown episode part 1 and Clown episode part 2 on different episodes. So,
yeah, it works out a little bit easier to have the named episodes in the same B-Sides, because then we're not trying to be like, okay, did that happen in part 1 or part 2? Uh-oh, did we just accidentally spoil part 2? Whoopsies!
Exactly. Yeah, and also, we are gonna do at some point, I don't know when yet, we're gonna figure out the schedule, but at some point we'll do a Dominus-specific B-Sides as well. That'll be super fun.
I'm so excited for that one.
Yeah, but we're definitely gonna do a B-Sides for Dominus as well, because Dominus did just come out, and I think a lot of people would like to ask questions, and that'll be super fun. So, but because it's a separate show, I think it'll be better to do it in another episode that's not about Hainai.
Yeah.
But yeah, as usual, before we begin, we will discuss shortly and summarize each episode, and then we will go into questions. Thankfully, people sent in some fun questions. We were like, oh no, there's no questions. Oh no. And then, of course, our listeners saved us once again, as usual.
Thank you for sending in your questions. And if you are listening to this on something like, Acast or wherever you listen to podcasts typically, and you have questions that you want to ask, but you don't really know where to send them into, just add us on social media at HiNiPod, or you can go into, like, YouTube and leave a comment on the most recent episode. We will take all of your questions. Give us your questions.
Exactly. I literally look at everything. Don't worry, I don't miss much. I mean, maybe, because, like, I don't necessarily check all the comments on Apple Podcasts, for example, but if you comment on any of our socials, at HiNiPod on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky, and also our YouTube channel, we will definitely see those,
Absolutely.
I mean, you could even email us and we'll see those, so don't worry.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, B-Sides are for general questions, but also questions specific to the last 3 or 4 episodes in this case.
Depending on how we split these up.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly go over each episode, then we'll go over the questions.
Sounds great.
I'm not including Dominus in this episode, although Dominus did just come out, and if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Everyone loves it. It's great.
It's so good. I'm not even saying that because I'm your friend. Guys, please give this podcast a listen. I'm so serious. It's so good. It's so good.
Let's go. Hell yeah. Okay, so
anyway.
Episode 77, Titig, or Stare. The summary is, a group of Urbex YouTubers, that's Urban Explorer, YouTubers, stumble upon a rare find, an isolated cabin in the middle of the woods. Ballet dancer Patty Espinoza is watched by eyes in the dark. Mary has an unexpected encounter while visiting one of Marianne's old homes. So that's the ballet episode that I quite enjoyed writing, and people found really spooky.
I loved that episode.
Episode 77.5. Remind me to tell you later, Padre. And obviously Padre is priest, father, you know what I mean. Mary reminisces on her childhood with her tate's assistant, would-be priest Kuya, big brother, Jonas. During an encounter with wartime ghosts at the historical Manila post office, Mary learns Jonas might not have her sight, but he does have a sense for when things are wrong. And this episode is sort of an introduction to one of the main characters of Dominus, Father Jonas. And we aired it for Ophicon, the audio fiction convention, and we also aired it a week before we aired Dominus. It's a really nice little intro, and also confirming that Dominus and Hainai do take place in the same universe, so. And the last 2 episodes, episode 78, Payaso, Clown, Part 1, and episode 79, Payaso, Clown, Part 2. So I'll read both summaries. Part 1, DJ in the Dark interviews a babysitter, who encounters a red Piero. Other Mary talks about Thompson's cabin, which should no longer exist. And the second part is, the babysitter talks about how she survived Pero the Bloody Piero and the Melting Harlequin. Mary, in the past, talks about natural users and the power they bring, if an elder ever finds one. So yeah, those are the past 4 episodes, and we will discuss them after we answer some questions. It's been so fun to write these episodes, but also I've been writing them sort of in a haze because I've been focused on releasing Dominus.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of the freedom of writing these sorts of episodes because they are slightly standalone. They're definitely still covering aspects of the overall plot, but it's easier to sort of like communicate a very scary story if, you're not trying to match up every single plot point at that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's more effective for people as well.
I agree, for sure. Because it gives us kind of some insight into what people who are not in on what's going on, like, we see their POV without, like, them knowing what's actually happening. But we'll get into that after we answer these listener questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, horror is more effective if it's unknown, and
Exactly.
It's hard to be unknown after, 100 episodes. So.
Exactly. So being able to tell the POV from somebody that's not part of the main cast makes it, go back to the horror roots, the beginning, where we didn't know anything at all ever.
Exactly.
Definitely exactly. That way.
That's why it's so fun, and that's why you can make 100 episodes like this.
Exactly.
So, let's go to the questions first. The first question is from, they're all from Discord, our lovely Discord listeners. The first question is a really, really fun one from Nerdy Flower, a longtime listener. Wonderful Nerdy Flower. Nerdy Flower says, what are the Scooby Gang's guilty pleasure/secret hobbies and interests?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, I love this question.
Okay, because my immediate thought, so obviously I'm not going to out what happens in post-Hainai canon, but certainly we have made discussions about things that would, things that the Scooby Gang would do if they were not having to fight supernatural things. Yeah, if they were not dealing with the horrors anymore. And we do get a hint of, stuff that they enjoy doing, particularly Laura, because in the first episodes we know that Laura likes to, collect vintage things, but also she likes making dresses. She likes making, clothes. Yeah. And that is something she's very good at doing. And it's, her talent, but it's also, just a skill that she has. And I do think that she would go back into more, handcraft, hand-making dresses and all that, if she wasn't busy helping save the world,
Yeah. I'm sure she misses going through her fabric supplies and finding a cute new pattern. But maybe she'll get a chance to get back to it someday.
Maybe.
Nothing will ever happen to Laura. Fun. It's fine.
Exactly. Laura's safe.
Laura's
maybe. Fine. But yeah, there's also a really fun area in Toronto, in Queen East, which is an area with a lot of fabric stores. I believe it also goes all the way down to Queen West, but there are a lot of fabric stores in Queen East. There's a whole fashion district, and I think Laura would absolutely spend a lot of time there looking at patterns. And I also think that she would 100% want to make dresses for Mary. It would be super cute.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
I've drawn them in cute dresses before, but yeah, what I did not mention is that Laura definitely made those dresses.
Absolutely. Oh, that kind of makes me think of Cardcaptor Sakura, where Sakura's best friend makes all of her superhero costumes.
Oh my god, I can't believe I never made the connection, especially because Tomoyo is in love with Sakura, so it's it's
so
the same
doubly
thing.
Apt.
It's the same thing. They're lesbians. Okay, so anyway. Oh, it's the lesbian who's in love with the bi pansexual.
Oh
anyway.
No. Anyway.
But yeah. So yeah, Laura is the Tomoyo to Mary's Sakura. That's what you need to know.
I'm writing down in my notes.
Yeah,
Laura, Sakura,
Tomoyo. Exactly. No, that's right. You know what? I even sometimes I imagine I listen to the old Cardcaptor Sakura theme songs and ending songs, and I imagine the characters of Hainai with those theme songs and ending songs.
That's so cute.
Like, I've imagined them dancing to, what's it called? It's Brand New Love Song.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
They definitely dance to that one, and
That
they're
would be
also like,
so cute.
I think it's called Fruits Candy. The ending, the Fruits Candy ending song. I imagine all of them making like desserts or milk tea at home.
That would be so cute.
To the Fruits Candy ending song. It's
I
like
love that.
it's all for Mary. Mary wants some bubble tea, and they're like, "Let's make some bubble tea at home."
Let's make some
and it's a
bubble
whole
tea at home.
project.
Yeah.
And everyone's taking part. It's really cute.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
Yeah, Card Captor Hainai.
Card Captor Hainai. That's so cute.
Yes. And then we go on to... Oh, yes. We go on to the next one, which is also obvious. It's actually Donner. I don't know if you remember, but we know that Mikey, the little boy Mikey, before everything went wrong, was a little nerd. He was a little sci-fi and horror and fantasy nerd. He loved that stuff. He loved reading books. He loved, sci-fi and horror. He knows all the stuff, and if he had any sort of free time, he would just enjoy like a good horror sci-fi fantasy movie. He would be reading the horror sci-fi fantasy books. He would just love it. And if he was given the chance to not have this life-altering mission where every day is spent, researching and fighting the supernatural, that's what he'd do. He'd just become a big old nerd ass.
You know that Mikey, little boy Mikey, had a huge crush on Ripley from Alien.
Oh my god, that's so cute. Damn, that's adorable. Yeah, he would have. I'm also thinking of who else he'd have a crush on. Captain Kirk? Probably.
Oh, absolutely. And you know that he'd also ship Spurk, like Spock and Kirk.
Absolutely did. Yeah. Baby Donner. Baby Donner was such a sweet boy, sweet nerdy boy. Poor him.
You look at Baby Donner and then you look at adult Donna and you just look at them and go, What happened to you? What happened to you?
Absolutely. And it's also like, yeah, it's so sad. But also,
it's so sad.
He became a badass, but at what cost, though?
He became such a badass, but what cost?
But at what cost?
Poor Donner.
Oh, and this is very important. If he was ever given the opportunity, not only would he be a nerd, he'd be like a super nerd.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be a LARPer. Is what I'm saying. Donner would be a LARPer.
He would be the biggest LARPer. In fact, I think he would hire Laura to help make some of his costumes.
Exactly. Oh my god, that would be so cute. Like Laura just like crafting. Like today we're gonna craft my girlfriend's boyfriend's LARP costume.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about? And Laura's like, my girlfriend's boyfriend's LARP costume. What about that is not clear?
Exactly. Did I stutter?
Did I stutter? This is my girlfriend Mary, and this is Mary's boyfriend Donner.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so adorable.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
He's so cute. She's like, Donner, come in here. We're gonna we have to size your armor.
Yeah, exactly.
For the next LARP. They're so cute. It's very it's very Card Captor Sakura coded.
It really is.
Like Donner becomes her costuming model, and Mary becomes her dress model.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, second. Let's go. Oh, sorry. I was gonna go on to the second question. I forgot the other ones.
Yeah, we still need to talk about some of the other Scooby Gang.
Yeah, it's tough because I actually have not thought that much about their free time. I mean, we've talked about how at one point Murphy was very much an Instagram, Instagram gay, gym gay. He's just that kind of guy. But I also think that, he partied a lot when he was younger. He's kind of like leaving that now. But of course he was like a big like party guy. So I think that right now he's gonna try to figure out what he enjoys doing in his free time, and I have not given that enough thought yet. I think that Murphy now versus Murphy then is such a completely different beast.
Oh yeah.
That I want to imagine, because when he was younger, especially when he was a kid, he was given all of the strict, things he had to learn. He knows how to play the piano with alarming, skill. That's something, by the way, I never mentioned this, but Murphy knows how to play the piano because he was forced to learn. I don't think he'd ever enjoy doing it again, so he has not touched a piano since he was a kid.
Yeah.
but that's just a skill that he has. So I'm wondering, like, I think post everything, or at least like in the middle of everything, if he wasn't busy like also with the world saving stuff, he would try to relearn what makes him happy.
Yeah, oh man.
So he's trying to figure that out. He doesn't know yet, but he'll get there, and I think part of it is going to be doing it with people he loves, right?
Exactly.
And I'm sure there's still stuff that he enjoys from his party days, right? Like, he's still gonna enjoy a parade, he's gonna enjoy a party or two, but I think he's gonna lower his party lifestyle and kind of become more... I say family oriented, but when I say family, I mean found family oriented, like his friends. He's gonna become more found family oriented. But yeah, and as for Ashvin, I have not, again, with Ashvin it's kind of difficult because we know what he does for work. We know what he does, he enjoys doing. He loves spending time with his aunt and uncle, who are kind of his de facto parents. And we know that there are things he enjoys. He's quite rich, not to the point of, like, buying a mansion or some shit, but, like, he is rich enough to own, like, a top floor suite apartment. So he does have his creature comforts. But as for what he does for fun as a hobby, I cannot think of anything except for something we discussed a while ago, which is that I think Ashvin would have a deep love for Indian movies.
Oh, yes.
But in particular, I was talking about Bahubali.
Yes. Bahubali is his favorite movie.
Bahubali is his favorite movie, I think. It's also, it's a little bit based in reality because the voice actor for Ashvin, who is Adil, is actually the one who introduced Bahubali to me, and he loves Bahubali. He absolutely adores it, and I understand why. It is both high art and low art at the same time.
You showed me clips of it, and I really need to sit down and watch the whole thing. It looks like such a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great epic. It's a mindless blockbuster, and also one of the greatest artistic pieces of art I've ever seen in cinema. Like, genuinely. It is, it's basically Lord of the Rings if Lord of the Rings did not take itself too seriously.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it's like, it has the same level of just artistry and, like, thought put into it, but if it wasn't, like, super serious, it was just, like, kind of silly and kind of fun. That's what Bahubali is. It's a true epic. And I think Ashvin, for all that he is very much, like, you know, he has his standards, he's, like, he'll scoff at certain things, he'll think a lot of things are silly, he won't tolerate certain things. But then when asked, like, what his favorite movie is, he's like, the greatest piece of cinema in history. Bahubali!
And everybody just kind of looks at him like, you're joking, right?
I think Murphy can't appreciate Bahubali. But
no,
you know
Murphy,
what?
I don't think Murphy gets it. I think he looks at it and watches it and is just like, I don't understand why you enjoy this. This is the exact opposite of anything that I know you to enjoy.
Exactly. Oh, but here's the important part. We have also discussed this, that we discussed this as a sort of like an alternate universe, or at least like some sort of concept. We're sort of like discussing like what's possible, what's not, like, in scenarios and all that, and we don't know where this would fit in. But we have discussed that if given the opportunity, the fact that both Ashvin and Donner hate each other, but also would die for each other, the one thing that they can agree on is that Bahubali is the greatest piece of cinema, and I think they would like bond over Bahubali. I genuinely think that, like, nerd-ass Donner and just, like, Ashvin with his dark horse, like, adoration for this absolutely absurd and beautiful piece of cinema.
Exactly.
They would bond, they would become Bahubali buddies, and they would...
It's the only thing that they ever agree on, ever, at any point, and it's the only time where they are acting like they are total best buddies. So between Ashvin loving the movie, despite being the type of person who ordinarily wouldn't enjoy this sort of thing, and Donner not normally liking Bollywood-style films, and just absolutely not liking Ashvin whatsoever, Murphy walks in on the two of them bonding over this movie and goes, all right, I'm out. I don't know what universe I just stumbled into. I don't want any part of this. This is too weird. What episode of The Twilight Zone am I in? Get me out.
Exactly. Also, because some comments might mention this, it's actually Tollywood.
Or Tollywood. Okay.
Tollywood, because Bollywood is, like in Indian, but this is Hindu movies,
Oh, gotcha.
but Tollywood is Telugu, I believe, if I'm remembering
Gotcha.
correctly,
Okay.
and it was
Okay.
originally shot in Telugu. But yeah,
Got
just
it.
wanted to make that detail because I think someone would mention
I
it.
appreciate the clarification. That is important.
Yeah, because Bahubali is a beloved classic of of everything.
And I don't want to offend the Bahubali fans.
Exactly. It's just something to mention. But also, yes, I think that they would literally disappear for how many hours is it? It's like I think it's a total of 6 or 7 hours. Like
Yeah,
those
it's a
movies.
long movie.
It's a long bunch of movies. They have re-released it abridged, but genuinely the entire long extended cut is worth watching, and I highly recommend it. But yeah, I think that they would just disappear, and everyone was like, "Where's Donner? Where's Ashvin? What happened? Where are they?" And then it's like they've been in a Bahubali marathon for all these hours. That's how they bond. That's how they become friends. That's how they, actually tolerate each other. Very sweet. And who are we missing? Mary. Mary.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Mary.
Yeah, we did talk about Mary. What'd she do in her free time? Oh, that's rough. I actually, Mary is tough because I've also talked about how she also has the big mission, right? Like she's also very, focused on the big mission. But what does she do for fun?
That's such a tough question because we know she likes a lot of things, but we don't really know what she likes to do as a hobby. Because when we first meet her at the start of episode 1, she's doing freelance editing work, and we don't hear about what she does outside of her job. All we knew is that she was lonely because of her isolated work hours, and how she hasn't met anybody in the community. Like she didn't know any of her neighbors at the time. That was pretty much all we know, or knew about her then.
Exactly.
And now she's too busy trying to save everybody from these evil elders to indulge in any hobbies, which is definitely very healthy of her. Very good, healthy work-life balance going on there, Mari.
Oh yes. The mission. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously Mary has a lot of skills and things that she knows how to do and enjoys. She knows how to dance, she knows how she knows how to sing. But as far as hobbies that she would do for fun, it's hard to say. I know she would obviously enjoy going to milk tea stores, but other
That's
than
not
that,
a hobby.
it's not a hobby. Yeah, it's just something that she likes. It's tough. It's tough. I risk sort of applying my own personal things that I do onto her, but honestly, I don't know yet. And that sort of speaks to the problem with Mary, which is that she is a little too focused on a thing and not being a person.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I guess the real answer is just she doesn't have any hobbies because she doesn't know how to be a person.
Yeah.
But I could see her enjoying anime. I could very easily see her sitting down to watch a cute shoujo. I could very easily see her sitting there crying because Freerin just hit a really sad episode, or she's rewatching an old episode of Sailor
that would be
Moon
very
or something.
much a thing that she would do and enjoy.
But aside from that, I don't know what she would do either. It's such a tough question.
Right. I think that we might learn as time goes on, maybe closer to her ending, to the ending of the show. But for now...
Right now, the stakes are just too high. She doesn't have time to think about what it means to be a person.
Yeah. I mean, obviously she wants to go home and, spend time at home and stuff, but that's also not a hobby.
That's not a hobby. That's just going home and relaxing.
Exactly. But I don't know what would be a hobby yet, I mean, if I were to just make a random, throw something out there, I think she'd become a trinket girly. But she would, I think the funniest thing would be, if she got really obsessed with little, mascots and trinkets, and then, you know how she has literal, figures of her gods, and she has an altar and everything? Imagine this. Imagine figures of her gods on a shelf, surrounded by just little, Sanrios and Chicoas.
That would be so cute. Oh my god.
She would do it. She would.
She would.
Everyone knows my obsession is Chicoa. and I have like a bunch of little Chikawas now.
Mm-hmm.
Mary would have literally like a holy altar, and then just like on the sides, because she has limited space, she would add like little Sanrios, little Chikawas, little like fuck.
Yes, absolutely. She would just be like going crazy with them. I really do think Mari would enjoy Chikawa immensely.
Absolutely. She'd be like, this is me.
This little creature is like me for real.
It's me. This is
it's me.
But yeah, but no, I mean, that's a possibility. I will not, like, and, you know, that's not canon. I don't know. I think, like, it's about as canon as, it's a little less canon than Ashvin and Bahubali. But, like, we're kind of going down the list of canon. Like, you can see, we're very sure about Laura. We're quite sure about Donner. We're a little sure about Murphy. And then with Ashvin, it's like, if maybe. And then Mary's like, Mary's like,
yeah.
Well, we're going to have to answer that when it's closer to the ending.
So. I think the only way I can confidently say when any of these would be true is in an AU where the elders didn't make any of these foci, because then they would actually be allowed to sit down and enjoy their hobbies and bond over them as friends. But in terms of canon, like the canon timeline, nobody really has time to indulge in their hobbies. They're too busy trying to save the world, which is sad.
Exactly.
We're being deprived of Laura costumes.
Right. And, just as a quick addition, Evelyn being a honorary, member, we already know what she enjoys doing. Like, it's technically her, her vocation, her schooling, whatever, but she loves doing archiving. She loves doing research. It's her special thing. Like, she does it for fun, too. She loves, like, just digging into stuff and learning stuff and sort of, I think... she would be a YouTube like essayist, or she would, she would put things onto like a PowerPoint and then explain the PowerPoint.
Non-canonical post-canon. She would be a YouTube essayist and as a hobby.
Exactly. That's a quick one. Okay, let's answer the other questions, and we'll go into the actual summaries. So, from Kat, the wonderful Kat, from our Discord.
Thank you, Kat.
I was curious about your artistic reason for how often storylines are split into pieces across multiple episodes. Thematic parallels, ? Actor and recording constraints? All of the above. All of the above. So, it starts out with constraints, right? It starts out with the constraint that an actor is unavailable, or I am unavailable, I don't have time to do something, I ran out of time, I'm busy with something else, blah, 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 and so the episode doesn't get written, so the actor can't record it. It's not usually the actor's, not fault, it's like nobody's fault, but like, it's not usually on the actor, like, to change a schedule, it's usually me to change a schedule.
Yeah.
And I also sometimes will realize that a storyline fits better now, so I'll have to, like, push back some actors' schedules. And so it becomes part of the constraint. And then, with that, thematic parallels come around. Because now that I know that I have to delay the episode and have something that only I can record, I think of a standalone story or a story of the week where something would be thematically paralleling something else, and it ties into the larger story. It's like weaving a blanket, sort of. It's like you're kind of like adding, like, when you're like sewing some designs on top of the weave, like to make it, to enhance it without interrupting the weave. That's kind of what I think of it. Like, well, I'm not very good at weaving, let's just say that, but with storytelling, it's kind of like that. You're kind of inserting things to make the story a bit more colorful, while also maintaining the thematic consistency and thematic parallels. So, yeah, it starts with constraints, and it leads into thematic parallels. I find that constraints help the storytelling in a lot of ways. Not always, but in a lot of ways. And yes, sometimes an actor's unavailable, so I think, okay, I need to whip up a story really quickly that fits here, or I have a story that I have in mind, but it was meant to be next week, but now I'll move it back around, I'll make it this week, and then we'll go into the planned episode next week. And that also tends to happen. And yeah, like, you have to think on your feet, you have to be able to write very quickly, you have to be able to kind of, like, think of things. But at the same time, there has been an outline for the story for a long time. Like, this, like, it's not like I plan everything just on the spot. Like, I plan...
Yeah, you have an overarching plot. It's just sometimes you spontaneously add in a new episode when something occurs to you that would help flesh out the plot.
Exactly. And that's how you keep it fresh as well. Like, you can't write a 100-something episode show with just the same plan that you had from, like, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That never happens. Even with shows that don't, split off into standalone stories.
Exactly. And then there's also something to be said about sometimes a script just kind of gets away from you. There have been a couple of times where you were like, hey, can you read this script for me real quick? I want to know what you think. And I'll look at it and go, oh, that looks awesome. And then you add more to it, and suddenly it's a 2-page, or not 2-page, it's like a 2-episode script because you really got into it, and it was such a good idea, and you can't cut anything out, so it has to get split up into parts.
Exactly. That's what happened with the Pit episode, the Big Ones episode. I get super into the story, and as you remember, the older episodes of Hainai were like 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how my brain works, and now I split it up so that I can make episodes per week rather than the past schedule that we had, which was twice a month and then once a month. And now that we have dedicated ourselves to weekly releases, I try to split up these ideas into different episodes, try to make them feel smooth. And my brain also works in a very animation style kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on Justice League episodes, DCAU, extremely well written, super fun adventures. And what they used to do in the original Justice League show is that they would literally have part 1, part 2 in almost every single episode. I don't know if you remember this. Like, Justice League Unlimited, not so much. But the original Justice League show was a part 1, part 2 type series because they were literally writing, like, adult prestige into a 30-minute cartoon slot. So they would, instead of like sacrificing the story and the breadth of the story, they just cut it into 2. And that's what I'm trying to do with these episodes. And sometimes it's very obvious, like, here's Clown Part 1 and Clown Part 2. And sometimes it's more like, here's 2 differently named episodes, but they relate because I have tied this final scene into the next episode, etc., etc. And it helps also to balance out the main plot. The main plot is going, but it's not going fast,
Yeah, exactly.
It's every episode you get a little bit of advancement to the main plot, but there are certain episodes that are plot heavy, but not all of them. Some of them are just like they have a sprinkling of plot, or they have something where you have a detail that is very relevant to the plot, even if it doesn't move it forward necessarily.
Exactly. And I think it also just helps, like, with continuity and easing us from one episode to the next. Because if you're doing, like, here's a plot-heavy episode, here's a standalone episode, here's a plot episode, here's a standalone episode, having, like, a bridge between episodes where it's like, these 2 people are having a conversation, and then in the next episode, they pick up that conversation like we didn't just leave off in the middle of it, really helps to smooth, the transition and make it easier, especially if you're binging episodes, because then you're not, like, jumping around too much. You have these transitory conversations and events that help you stay established within the current timeline.
Exactly. Plus, a lot of people find that Hainai comes together really well on a binge rather than on a week-to-week basis because, like, they forget a lot of details, which is fair. I am writing on a week-to-week basis, but I do feel like Hainai reads a lot better when it's on a binge. Also, I grew up on week-to-week episodes, so I'm pulling a lot of my style from those days. Week-to-week anime, week-to-week, like, Justice League, etc., etc. That's just how it goes, Like, sometimes you'll forget some details, but then I'll remind you in an episode where I'm reintroducing this concept, but I'm not expecting you to remember everything week-to-week. It's sort of like, leaving it off, reintroducing it, etc., etc. And I try not to leave things for too long, but some details I do when it's not relevant to the ongoing plot right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, I have a lot of characters. I have a lot of, like, many different plot
characters.
Elements, but they all are relevant, I swear.
They're important, I promise.
I just have fun. But yeah, it's constraints. Also, very, very big one, other than schedule constraints. If I have a dialogue episode with 2 or more characters, that's kind of hard to edit and kind of hard to direct. So, especially if it's like all of them, like some episodes I have all of them. That's a nightmare to, logistic-wise, that's a nightmare to...
Yeah, because everybody has different schedules, everybody is working off, like, even on different time zones, so trying to, like, when you have episodes with a huge cast involved at the same time, a lot of work goes into that.
It is so difficult.
It really is.
Yeah, it is just so difficult to deal with the balance when there's more than one person. So that's why I try to have, a standalone where it's one person talking or two, or people not talking in dialogue. There can be two characters, but then they're both doing monologues. That's so easy. And it helps with the production a little bit so that I can not delay. It's so I have extra time to work on the more dialogue heavy episodes. That's where my brain is at with that one. So, yeah, it's all just constraints. We do have, to balance dialogue episodes and monologue episodes because some are easier to make than others. But, yeah, sometimes it's also inspiration, sometimes it's also just schedule conflicts, sometimes it's also the world becomes a little too much to handle, and we opt for the easier one to produce. All of the episodes are good, but some of them are easier to produce. Let's just say that.
And then sometimes it's just you had an idea and you needed to get it out there.
Yes, exactly. Just to keep things fresh, because if things weren't fresh, the show would be boring. And, no matter what, I hope the show isn't boring. But yeah, next question. Actually, this is the last question, then we'll go into the summaries. The last question is from X Martian. What would be the recommended course for someone just getting into the fandom? And I asked, for clarification, and they said, say I listen to everything on the High Knife feed chronologically. What else should I check? Is there extra lore elsewhere? So for people who are curious about extra lore, one, you can join our Discord. We talk about lore quite a lot, and I do reveal some things in the Discord, in the High Night discussions. I know it's going to be difficult to kind of scroll back. This is more for people who are engaging in discussion. You are absolutely free to scroll back, but all the information that I post, if I find it to be very relevant or interesting, I do post it to our Tumblr as well and other social media. So the other easier place to look is Tumblr. If you go back chronologically on the posts for Hainai, you will also find a lot of interesting discussions. You will find, if you look under Hainai art tag on Tumblr, you will find a lot of art and some discussions I have about the characters in the art or just related to the art. So yeah, you can check out Tumblr. And of course, very important, we have a YouTube channel. And while I recommend people listen to Hainai on all podcast platforms, because that's how we get our revenue, our YouTube does have some interviews, some videos, some things that are not always included on the feed. I try to include as much as I can on the feed, we even include a lot of our live streams, but there might be a couple of things that you'll find, especially things that are animated. It's not many, I've made 2 animations, but you can also check those out because those aren't really, there's no point in putting animation in audio.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so you can check those out. You can check our discussions. You can check some old posts. Tumblr and YouTube are good places to look. But also, looking at our old art and everything. And whenever something's relevant, I try to repost it. So if you follow our social media, you'll get a lot of extra little bits of lore on Hainai that might not be included in the main. But, there's also these B-sides. The B-sides have extra lore, too. We always reveal interesting things in these episodes, so that's why you should listen to them.
Tidbits. Please listen. And then, also, Motzie, you haven't mentioned it yet, the Patreon also has a couple of things, they remind me to tell you laters are always posted early. Eventually, you do make them free for the main feed, but not for a really long time.
True. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I totally forgot.
We also don't post the full episode for the B-sides, although we do try to give you the most that we have to discuss, so you don't miss too much. But the full episodes for the B-sides aren't available unless you are at which tier on the Patreon?
Same tier as the bonus episode, so at there and above. I will say I'm kind of behind on the full because I believe that my laptop broke when I was editing the full episode for 6 onwards. And I have not because that broke the series, I have not gotten back to that. I do have the files, though, and I think I'll finally have some time to work on them. But, yeah, all, the full episodes for 1 to 5, besides 1 to 5, are on Patreon. We have a lot of extra lore there, a lot of extra discussions, and we'll also have some for this episode. So, if you're interested in what we're about to discuss, yeah. But I will mention a little bit about each episode, and then we will go into the full episode, which will not be available publicly. But yeah, so if you're curious about extra lore, Patreon, of course, especially at the $10 tier, but also just our Tumblr, our YouTube, I guess Instagram, I don't know. Twitter's kind of a loss, unfortunately, but at least we have Tumblr.
At least we have Tumblr.
So you may have noticed that this was not the full episode. In fact, the full episode is quite a bit longer than what you've heard. That's because we tend to keep the longer versions of the episodes as exclusives for our patrons. Anyone who subscribes to the Ate tier and above, which is the $10 tier and above, will get these episodes in full, but for all of you, we still want to make the episodes enjoyable and quite long, so you get most of the episode, you just don't get the final maybe like 10, maybe 20 minutes of the episode. And so if you want to learn more about High Nine, you want that secret lore that we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you can absolutely join our Patreon, patreon.com/HighNinePod, and become an Ate patron. But if not, you can still enjoy most of the episode as a just regular listener. It really helps us to continue creating High Nine. All the support is fantastic, and I am trying to put more time and effort into High Nine. I've actually moved from when I was making High Nine, I had a full-time job. But I've actually moved away from a full-time job to a part-time job because this allows me to create more with High Nine, and that's because of the support of listeners like you, especially those who sign up for the Patreon. And for everybody listening, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
supporting
so
us
much
on
for that.
Patreon. And thank you for helping High Nine continue into 2026. Oh my gosh, it's been such a fun time. And it has been a wild ride, especially because
been a wild ride.
just recently hit 500,000 downloads.
Let's go!
Which is insane. Yeah, it's an amazing...
That's such a big number.
Yeah, it's an amazing number. It's been an amazing journey. And I'm sure we hit it a little earlier than I thought because we also have listeners on YouTube, but I'm just counting, Acast and our past platform, which is Podbean. So I just counted those and added them together.
Yeah, because those are easier to keep track of, I think.
Exactly. That's been amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you all.
Maraming salamat, and thank you, Edward, for joining me tonight on this lovely
Absolutely.
recording.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, we'll meet back up in the Dominus B-sides.
I'm so excited for it.
We'll have to call it something else, because there's no tapes. Dominus is
there's no tapes.
There's
what
no
do we
tapes,
call it?
recordings, or phone calls, so we can't call it B-sides, because B-sides are about tapes. So
it's
we'll
not
figure
like
something
analog.
out.
This is an audio drama. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Like Dominus
might call it like
question and
ears within the walls. The walls are listening.
Confessionals. Dominus confessionals.
Yes.
Let's go. We did it.
The Dominus confessionals. We nailed it.
We figured it out.
All right. We will talk again when we get to the Dominus confessionals.
Hell yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
I hope you guys will join us there.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.